Greetings, YouTube, and welcome to Bubble Hearthing, your right to street to some casual Hearthstone, where I have saved up gold, and I'm rank 16, by the way, which is cool. But this is going to be a pack opening video. It's slightly outdated, which I know is silly, but basically, I'm gonna talk about the state of the game. Some of that is kind of addressed already in the Curse of Nextramus, in the new adventure mode that they're bringing out, which I'm super hyped about, but that's going to be another video. So, as far as I'm concerned here, I'm just going to talk about how the game's going. Now, what I believe that Hearthstone needs is, even though I'm not a very high rank, I know that, and you do face more variety, somewhat in the lower ranks. Of course, they don't have access to as many cards in theory, but at the same time, they are willing to try more random thrown together decks. But at the higher ranks, there's a lot of, I don't want to say consistency, but there's basically, if you face a druid, it's going to be a control druid. It's not really going to be a rushdown druid. You can play rushdown druids, and they do win in the lower ranks, but in the top ranks, no, not so much. If you face a hunter, 9 out of 10 times they're just going to go for your face. This is going to be, one of those rushdown hunters, maybe the Raynad hunter deck, which is slightly more geared towards working around your opponent, but at the same time still just going for their face the whole time. If you face a mage, I don't know, it might be a Frost Giants mage. Those haven't been as popular anymore. Warlocks could be a handlock or something. There are a few varieties, but mostly you get a few options from each class, like one or two, basically, for each hero, for what kind of deck you can make, and to be in the top. And I don't really feel like that's a good thing. A card game usually strives on some variety, having different decks in the top spot, and it has been that way. Before there were, priests doing really well, priests and mages. Now it's been infiltrated by more controlled, well, priests are controlled, but infiltrated by druids doing really well. Warriors also made their way up there, I believe. Of course, there was the Strife Crow druid deck. He was number one for a little while, and there's the Razor, had the warrior deck. And yeah, that's basically how it's been. Of course, Trump managed to get to Legendary with his basically a free-to-play mage deck, which is pretty amazing. But what I'm seeing is that the only thing that's brought changes to this game so far, aside from people just adapting and seeing new combos and such, have been nerfs, which is terrible. I don't want, okay, this card isn't good anymore, we have to find a way to either make this deck viable, or to just get rid of this card. Okay, let's try a new deck now because this deck's useless. So that's horrible. Tinkmaster is not going to be used anymore, basically. They removed a card from the game, essentially. Pagel can still be used. It wasn't hit as hard, not nearly as hard as what happened to Tankmaster, but it's still not going to see the same play as it used to. Tons of cards have been nerfed, and Unleash the Hounds has just been changed, and for some reason, hunters always seem to either be going straight for your face. They always seem to go for your face, no matter what you do. They just do that. Maybe it's because it's inherent to their hero power. Do 2 damage to your face. But yeah, so I'm really hoping that Blizzard, I was hoping that they would actually release something new. Some new cards, expand the pool, but not just new cards they throw in there. It's okay, this is alright, but we're going to keep the decks we have. Or we'll make this deck a little bit better, but not much. I want to see cards that change the way you play the game. And I don't mean and then suddenly there's schemes. I don't mean Plane Chase or whatever with Magic, or how Yu-Gi-Oh! They changed the way you summon creatures. And the last thing I heard was pendulum summoning, and I was out about 2 years ago. I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But I heard about this and I was like, no, this is terrible. I want something that just helps you work around either some new mechanics, they have, not Bloodlust, but they have Divine Shield and Charge, something new there, or just some new way you see your cards. So this is all, but thank you for listening, and this is Bubble Hearthing, signing out.